Hey everybody, welcome to the 1B.B video. Today we're in the second section of our second part of Unit 1. We're going to be talking about unit conversions. Last section we talked about length conversions. Today we're going to be talking about weight and mass. And while weight and mass are technically different, weight being the effect of gravity, meaning the further away you get from Earth, the lighter you weigh, and mass being constant, we're going to use them interchangeably for the purpose of what we're talking about. So, just like with length, there are differences between what's called the customary or American way of measuring and the metric system. So we are going to talk about both. And similar to before, we do have a few things that we need to know. And so those are here in your table in your notes. Make sure you highlight those so that you can see them when you draw a prettier star for everybody. Okay, so make sure you know those. If at any time you have questions, make sure you put those in the clouds. And if you need a calculator, you're more than welcome to get one handy. So hopefully everybody's ready to go. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the units just like we did before. And we're going to use our proportions or our ratios to help us do that. So for example, if I want to go from pounds to ounces, up here I see that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So if I have 1/4, also known as 0.25 pounds, when I make my ratio here, I want my pounds on the bottom. Remember, we want them opposite each other, because if they're opposite each other, that means this pounds here and this pounds here is going to cancel out. So that's why I'm going to put whatever's up top down below so that they're diagonal from one another and will cancel out. So I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. And so then when I multiply those together, 1/4 of 16, if you don't know that, you're welcome to use a calculator. But hopefully you know that 1/4 of 16 is 4. And so because ounces is the unit that's left, and that's what I'm trying to get. So 1/4 of a pound is also known as 4 ounces. So for example, if you buy a 1/4 pounder at McDonald's, that would be a 1/4 pounder cheeseburger. That burger itself weighs 4 ounces. Or if you're a 1/2 pound, a 1/2 pound would have been 8. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. When we look at the next box in our table, we see that we have 15,360 pounds. LB stands for pounds. And so I'm going to put pounds down below, and T, capital T, stands for a customary or American unit of ton. And 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. So just like I did before, I'm going to put this over 1. Now when I look at what cancels out, I can see my pounds are going to cancel here and here, and I'm going to be left with tons, which is good. And I'm going to multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. And I'm going to use my calculator to help me get that decimal. So if I move it over to the side, so I can see I have 15,360 divided by 2,000. Remember that fraction line means divide. So this would be 7.68 or 7 68/100ths. Oops. Let me erase that and write that neater so that everybody can copy it down correctly. So 7 68/100ths of a ton. Okay, we have a few more to go on the customary or American measurements. 8,640 pounds to tons. These are similar to what we've done. If you want to try them on your own, you're more than welcome to pause the video, try them, and then restart them to see if you got the same thing I did. I'm going to keep going. So if I have 8,640 pounds and I'm going to tons, that means pounds has to be on the bottom, and there are 2,000 pounds in 1 customary ton. So when I multiply straight across, I get 8,640 over 2,000. My calculator helps me know that when I divide that out, I get 4.32 or 4 32/100ths. 4.32 tons. Okay, so again I'm going pounds to tons. The smaller the pounds, the less tons there are. Let's try one more right here. 150 pounds. Okay, and then I'm going to put pounds down below. I'm going to tons. Again, this is 2001. So there's 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. When I multiply that, I get 150 over 2,000. All right. So we get 0.075 or 75 thousandths of a pound. 5 pounds to ounces. Okay. Well, remember we start with what we're given. So in this example, I start with pounds, and that means that's the one that goes below. And I know that 1 pound is the same thing as 16 ounces. So what I'm doing is I'm multiplying 5 and 16. If you cannot do that in your mind, that's fine. You're welcome to use your calculator, but hopefully you know that 5 times 16 is 80. So 80 ounces, and I need to make sure that I write this neatly so that people don't confuse it, my label for an extra 0. So that's why I put a little extra space in there. 80 ounces is the same thing as 5 pounds. One last example for this section, 1 ton to ounces. So I have 1 ton, and what I know is that 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And then I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. So let's take a closer look at what I did here. So you'll see that T would cancel with T because one's on top and one's on bottom. Pounds would cancel with pounds. And my unit that I'm left with is ounces, which is good. So what I'm going to do is multiply straight across the top and the bottom. You can see that the bottom, all we have is 1 times 1. So anything divided by 1 is irrelevant. It's just the same that it was before. We don't actually have to do that. So 1 times 2,000 is 2,000. So what I'm doing is 2,000 times 16, which gives me 32,000. So 1 ton is 32,000 ounces.